Last night, I had a vision. I was with Big Pop, Martin, and Malcolm. The last thing I remember them saying was Gorealla.
On top of the jungle, on top of the world, call me King Kong.
God morning, REALLA. It's your man G1, and I got a pen in my hand because I've been taking notes. Listen, today, man, it gets deep. It gets deep. And once again, we're still going in on those 50 laws, and you can understand how each one of them is connected to one another. So this one today, we're talking about wisdom. Now, I didn't realize that wisdom was the law of the universe, but I also understood that wisdom was the law of the universe because it only makes sense. From my studies back in the day, I used to study that, wisdom was the number 3 thing anyway. So it's pretty interesting that even when I'm studying the universal laws as opposed to the universal laws that I was studying before, that wisdom is still considered the number 3 thing. No, I stand corrected. Understanding was the number 3 thing. In this sense, that's where the wisdom kind of made me feel like it made sense in the number 3 spot. But from what I studied before, wisdom was in the number 2 spot. So I stand corrected on what I just said to you. The number 2 spot was knowledge, or the number 1 spot was knowledge. Number 2 spot was wisdom, and number 3 was understanding. But in the sense that it's used in the universal essence of the laws that we're talking about, it's more so riding along with the idea that wisdom means understanding. So there was a separate category provided for understanding. And so with it being in this location, of course, the number 1 was harmony. We understand that harmony is the way that everything is corrected as well as balanced out in the universe. So the universe is always going to seek to create balance. And that balance is necessary to, bring things back to zero, because the universe really likes being at zero and expanding from zero. So that's what I'm understanding as well. Now, with that being the case, give me 1 second here. I'm a little milkshake this morning, a little protein shake. All right, now we back at it. Let's go. So number 2 we know was reincarnation and karma, okay, as the number 2 laws. Now number 3 once again is wisdom, and in a sense this wisdom is referring to once again a law that can be used to mitigate or cut down on the amount of karmic debt you have to pay, if you have to pay any. But you do have to pay some, because remember, everything is a lives behind. It may not be the previous life, it may be multiple lives back that you were creating that same habit and still could not break it. See, people think that, we were told YOLO. They promoted the whole YOLO thing. You only live once, you know what I'm saying? Because Drake made it popular. It was a catchy phrase and everybody was jumping on that bandwagon. But the truth is, you don't only live once. You only live once in this flesh and in this time. So in that sense, yeah, you do. But you live way many more times than once. Even in this single lifetime, you can live multiple lives. And you can do that by living your best life and passing through lives to your spirit or your soul grows bored and you just move into different things. So, to do, and it kind of speeds up the process, believe it or not, which also further lets you know that the soul is not governed by time. Interesting concept. The soul is not governed by time. So your soul will continuously come back and keep doing what's necessary until it learns the lesson. There's no time involved in that, unless you want to say as many times as it takes to get it. That's what happens. So with wisdom actually erases karma. Yes, wisdom can erase karma. That's kind of what it's meant to do, in a sense. It's meant to get the understanding of your karmic debt through love and understanding and wisdom before having to go through the alternate way to get it, which we'll talk about in 1 second. So if you can learn your lessons of life through love and wisdom, you can cut down or even avoid most karmic issues. Just to confirm. Now, unfortunately, we as human beings are thinkers. We place a lot into our thinking process, and we place a lot into other things aside from our thinking process. So it's either one or the other. But with wisdom, we could avoid the pain and discomfort of learning a lesson. Well, when it comes to wisdom, or not having wisdom, or the lack of, we tend to choose pain in order to learn these lessons. We choose to go through the hardship, the ups, the downs, by not living in love. Whoa, people. We're not talking about that. Let me get you some flowers on February 14th. Let me take you out to dinner. Let me buy you something. Let me get you that bag, that Birkin bag you've been looking at. Let me get you that, those watches that you like so much. Let me get you those. Let me pamper to you. Let me cater to you. Let me bring fruits and rose petals to your feet. No, we're not talking about that BS. That's BS love. That's the kind of love that has everybody thinking that they got to get the biggest bag. See, that's not love. That's love of self. That's love of self to get these things and surpass love of life, which means that you're loving life in general more than you're loving anything else. So you're loving your life and you're loving the life of others on an equal level, on a totally different place. And that's that love. That's real love. And that's the kind of love and wisdom that will help you mitigate the karmic debt that you've created in previous past lives. Okay? Now, with that being said, I know you all heard the term a soldier lives a thousand deaths. A soldier lives a coward lives 1,000 deaths, but a soldier lives just one. So choosing to live in peace and love is that one time that you get to live it, and that one time that you have to go through it to get it done. And that's what karma can do to help mitigate, or what wisdom can do to help mitigate your karmic debt. Okay, so for example, let's talk about an example here. You take from someone, right? You take from people in your previous life. You are taking from them. You're taking, they're extras. They're very poor, and you're taking from them anyway. So all you people in this reality that take from people who are poor and impoverished, well, here's something you're going to have to understand. You take from them. In the next life, you realize you make an agreement before you come to your next life. That's one of the things that you get to do. You kind of get to pick your poison in the sense of how you're going to go through this life and deal with it. Now, you get to do this without feeling of what it's going to be like to go through that situation. So once again, you're still getting the experience. You're still going through the karmic issue, and you're still learning what's necessary to get that understanding. But with this, you have a choice once you actually get into that life and you start going through those decisions, and you decide, okay, through wisdom and love, I know last time I was an asshole. I took from people. It feels familiar to me in this world. Like I've taken from people, and people have taken from me. And now I want to, of course, create my karmic debt, and I want to make sure I get it taken care of. So through wisdom and love, that's how you do it. You say, the last time I took from people, this time I'm going to give to people. I understand what it means to have things taken from me. So you, number one, say, I want something taken from me. And so people take something from you. So you get that feeling of what it was like to be taken from. But then on the next step, you actually, in the same life, will turn around and start doing things that are add into the positive of your karmic payoff. So you start doing things for people, giving to people, sharing with people, and you mitigate through love that feeling of that it takes to learn that lesson, so you don't have to learn it in pain. That is the benefit of wisdom, to cut down on your karmic debt, to actually mitigate it and help you move past it. So that's one of the big things that this does. And so that's why we're talking about wisdom right now as the number 3 universal law that people have to get in touch with, because wisdom is a known for everybody. But if you don't know that it's universal law, then you won't know how to use it to your advantage, and you won't understand how it's affecting you. So the lack there of wisdom, being impetuous and just jumping into things and doing things and not understanding, why you're doing it and what it can do to benefit you, leaves you running around in circles. So that was one of the biggest things right there. So when you move towards your predestined test in life, right, and you use wisdom to create harmony. Okay, so once again, knowing that you're going into a test, not going to a test where it's like, all right, now I've got to get even dirtier to get out of this situation. You're like, you know what? I'll let it wash over me. I'm going to live in love. I'm going to live in peace. I'm going to trust that this situation is going to pass, and I'm going to deal with it in humility. I'm going to accept responsibility for what I did to get into it. And guess what is going to happen? It's going to wash over me with the least amount, if any, of damage to my life. And that is your karmic choice to make that happen, and do it that way. So wisdom can once again mitigate that issue. An example is, you live in a time where it's popular to, let's say, own slaves. Okay, now we're getting deep. It's not only popular to own slaves, it's not popular to treat your slave very well. Now, let's say that the person, like in your past life, you were a slave, okay? You were a slave, and no, let's reverse it. Let's say in the last life, you were a slave, okay? And, you were bonded, you were bound, you were restricted. You could not do what you want to do. You saw tragedies and issues go on with your family to where they were taken from you, they were removed, and all of these good things. And as opposed to, fighting or doing anything, you just went about your business. You did what you were supposed to do, and, you exercised wisdom and you exercised love. And no matter how much you were beaten, no matter how much you were hurt, through love, you managed to keep your people positive and up tempo, upbeat, in the times they were going. You were the ones that you would constantly give to those who were in pain, who had been hurt and things like that. So your fellow slaves that you were with. Now, once again, this is your life at that point in time. Now, when you come back, you have the choice to do what was done to you. You have the choice to be the slave master. And you have the choice to dig off in the backsides of all those slaves that you were a slave before. Now, with this, you turn around and say, you know what? I'm not. I'm going to leave this alone, and I'm going to be an emancipator. Because why? Because you were a slave before, and you know what it's like. And through wisdom, you have actually chosen to free slaves and be an abolitionist and help fight for their freedom and fight for their dignity and fight to get them into a position of love to where they can be free and experience the love that you're experiencing. So that was because you have enough karmic memory to where you're able to remember what it was that you didn't like and you didn't love. And this comes in the form of feelings. Okay, so a lot of people don't know how it comes, but it comes in the form of feelings. And with that, now you're able to achieve what it is that you want to achieve, because in this world, you're doing something beyond yourself. As to where last time, it could have made you a victim, but you didn't accept victim. The victimhood that is caused by tragedy are trauma. You know, some people accept the victim role from there, and then they become, you know, hell bent on maintaining that victim role. But in the sense of being a victim, which you could have, you know, really invested more into, you chose not to by doing the right thing in the sense at that time and being more of a blessing to others, even though you were being downtrodden and burdened. You still chose to be. So that puts you in a higher place. So the next time you come back, you know, you could be the person who does whatever, but you don't. You're the person who continues to pay it forward for your soul. So keep in mind, when it comes to wisdom, wisdom is the only way to really, I won't say the only way because there's always some backdoor ways, but wisdom is the main way to mitigate karma. And if you can mitigate that karma, if you can disrupt that karmic path through wisdom and love, you will not only sidestep a lot of the damage and the trauma that comes from paying back a karmic debt. You know, you will actually move and be setting yourself up for a better position come the next life if you have to come back. Because that will of reincarnation is based off of you not being able to complete what you're supposed to complete to learn all your lessons. This is not about harming you. This is not about putting yourself in a super good position or super bad position. It's your role to learn through experience what life is in that sense, so the creator can experience that life through you. That's how important you are. That's why there can't be too many of any one thing, because the creator wants to experience itself through you and through that new life. So it doesn't want to experience it by looking at the same thing through two different lenses. It's got two sets of lenses for one experience, or sometimes no sets of lenses, but it's got that experience for you per person, that one experience per entity, per, you know, animal, whatever. You get that one experience. So this is very big stuff, man. The universal laws, again, are the laws that can help you out and help you accomplish things and help you learn to love and experience this life in this now and how to best live your best life. Hey, so look, if you're seeing this on YouTube, okay, go ahead and like, follow, subscribe. You know what the deal is. We're building up the channel. We have a goal. We want to get to 5,000 subscribers. So let's just start small. Let's get to 5,000. Let's see what it takes to get to 5,000. Once we get there, then you know, we'll look at other things. But along the way, I want you to go ahead and take advantage of the merchandise. You know, check us out on Instagram at Gorealla_life. And then, of course, check us out on Twitter at Gorealla Won. And then, of course, check us out on Facebook at Gorealla One's Life. You know what I mean? And just check us out, man. Just, you know, we're doing things to build this culture up, so you have a place that you can go to go with like minds, to build things, to desire, you know, to create things that are going to be beneficial to the human species. You know what I mean? Things that we can create as far as business, as far as our personal lives, you know, developing each other and getting each other up to snuff so we don't have to be moved around by all the circumstances of fear and pain. Okay? So, you know what it is. It's your man G1, 2 dubs, 4 corners, peace, prosperity, and preservation. Like, follow, subscribe. Go real life awaits. Let me say it the right way. God, fam, gorilla, go real life awaits. What a feeling to know that wisdom is the one way that can minimize all that karmic debt that we've been building up from our past lives. Believe it or not, you can see the truth in it. Let's go, my realists. Have a great one out there. Go, Rilla.